Hey, this is Mad Movie Mark with another Mad Movie Mark movie review. Thank you for joining me as I review the 1990 Chinese romance drama Ju Dou.
你才会呢。
Hey, that's not fair. I'm reviewing these movies as quick as I can. Good things come to those who wait, right? So Ju Dou has a 100% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and an 89% fresh rating from the audience. I'm currently reviewing every movie that has a 100% fresh rating from the critics. This movie is based on the novel Fuxi and revolves around a young Chinese woman named Ju Dou. Now, she has been bought by an older Chinese gentleman. We're not told about the specifics of how she was bought or the manner in which she was bought. We are just told that she was bought by this older Japanese gentleman who obviously has a lot of money. He's of higher class standing, and he is of the habit of buying younger women and trying to have children with them because he wants to continue his bloodline. He wants to have a boy, and he's failed at having children with all these other women that he's bought, so he keeps just dumping them and buying new women instead of maybe assuming that the problem is with him and not with the girls that he's buying. So he treats these women very poorly, including Ju Dou. He beats her, he punishes her for not being pregnant, and he's really just a terrible person to her. Now, she ends up falling in love with Tian Qing, I think is his name, and the older Chinese gentleman that I spoke of before, that's this guy's adopted uncle. He is a much younger gentleman, and he really feels for Ju Dou, and he is sorry for her, and he wishes that his uncle wouldn't do these things. Now, because he's seems like the only person who really cares about her, they end up falling in love with each other, and it's like a romance that they don't tell anyone about, because if they did, they would obviously get in trouble. They would the uncle is a rich, important person, so there would be consequences to this, obviously. And they end up having a child. She ends up getting pregnant with his child, but she has to pretend like it's the uncle's child. And it is a son, and the uncle is very happy about this. He's actually over the moon that he has, and the bloodline will continue, and he has no idea that is the other guy's kid. So the uncle ends up having a horse accident in which he gets thrown off a horse, and he pretty much is paralyzed from the waist down. Now, Ju Dou and Tian Qing, I think that's the other guy's name. They build like this makeshift barrel with wheels on it, sort of like a makeshift wheelchair for the uncle, and that's how he gets around. And eventually, they tell the uncle that it is not his child; it is Tian Qing's child. And of course, he is very upset about this. In fact, he tries to kill the child on multiple different occasions in multiple different ways because he feels like he is embarrassed and that he has become like he will be a laughing stock if this ever is figured out in the town. And he wants to get rid of not only the kid, but he also tries to kill her and him as well. So his attempts at killing them fail throughout the movie, and then there's one scene where he is very ready to kill off this kid. He's by himself with the child. He has a perfect opportunity, and the child calls him father. Now, the child lives with the uncle still because they have to put on appearances that this is the uncle's son. And since the uncle is in this makeshift wheelchair, he doesn't really get around that much, and he wouldn't tell people in the town anyway because it's an embarrassment. So the kid still lives with the uncle, and the kid still thinks that the uncle is his dad. And right when the uncle's ready to kill the child calls him father, and that completely changes the uncle's perception. Now he's going to raise this child as if he's his son and make him think that Tian Qing is just like a nephew or a brother or something, and is not the father. So the son grows up thinking that. He thinks that the uncle is his father. And then at the end of the movie, there's this. So this is a spoiler. The Everyone ends up growing old, and as they grow up old, Ju Dou and Tian Qing end up continuing to be in love with each other. They continue to have romantic getaways with each other so that they aren't seen by anyone. And it's kind of a moving story that they're still in love even as they get older and as they age. Now, eventually, the son, so the uncle dies. He falls into like this water. So he owns a dye factory, and he falls into the water where they're dyeing these cloths, and he drowns and he dies, and he ends up blaming Tian Qing and Ju Dou for the death, and eventually he kills Tian Qing, and as her last kind of act on Earth, Ju Dou puts a fire to the dye factory, and she ends up perishing in the fire as well. And that is the entire movie, basically summed up. I thought this movie was good. I didn't think this movie was great, but I thought it was good. The acting was incredible, and basically the girl who plays Ju Dou is amazing. A lot of these foreign films that I've been watching lately, definitely the female actress in them is the star. The female actress seems to be the best actor in the movie, and the men kind of take a back seat as far as acting skills. And that's been true for a lot of the foreign movies that I've seen in which there's a strong female lead, and that's true here. She is an incredibly good actress. I thought the story went on a little long, to be honest. Especially when they're in the beginning, when they're playful, the Ju Dou and Tian Qing are playfully playing with each other, and they're like building this relationship with each other. I thought it went a little long. I thought the whole uncle trying to kill the son thing went on a little too long too. I don't know. The movie it kind of dragged a little for me. The pacing was off. I wasn't really into it that much as I've been into other movies, and it was kind of slow. And to be honest, I checked out a little bit here and there, just because I wasn't really into it that much. But I do like. I would say the last half of the movie for me is the better half. Seeing these two people grow old together, still love each other, still wanting to go out and have these secret rendezvous with each other. They led a hard life together where they had to keep a lot of things secret. It's hard to keep a secret for that many decades, that many years, and they did it purely out of love for each other. And I think that's amazing, considering when they first got together, I didn't really believe the love story that much. It was more of a love story of convenience. He was the guy who was there at the time. She didn't know anyone else besides the uncle and this gentleman. So I felt like it was just a convenience thing. I wasn't convinced that they were actually in love with each other. But then, obviously, as the movie continues, they clearly are, because they're with each other for a very long time until basically death do them part is how long they were with each other. So I like the later half of the movie as far as their relationship goes, but wasn't really that much of a fan of the first half. Now, this movie was hated by the Chinese government because it talks about subject matter that they are not that comfortable with talking about, and that is like love without marriage, sex without marriage, things like that. It was nominated. I think it was supposed to be nominated for an Academy Award, but I don't think it was because the Chinese government didn't want it to be out there. But it's a good movie, and I think that it's an important movie to show. First of all, that there was still basically a slave trade back then. I'm assuming that's how she was bought. There's some sort of slave trade thing, because they don't really explain it. But if that's the case, then that is really recent. So that's pretty alarming. I didn't really know that it still existed in that way. But yeah, it's a good love story. It's no Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's not like a great love story. To me, that's the greatest love story movie ever. But it's good. It's at the end of the day, you feel for these two characters. You're rooting for these two characters. You really want the uncle to get what he deserves. And there's a lot of back and forth cat and mouse game. And they're basically, all three of them are playing games with this child. The child is the one who is the innocent one. And they're all three lying and conniving and using him to further their own agendas with what they want. And it's pretty sad, but when you think about it, that this child, when he grew up, he was pretty much nonverbal. He didn't talk, I don't think, at all in the movie, and he had a rough upbringing, and it's really sad to think that you really see how a child develops and what a child becomes when they have that kind of upbringing versus when they have a more cohesive upbringing where you have two parents who are, actually admitting that they're parents kind of thing and actually raising the child and actually have love with each other, because clearly Ju Dou and the uncle had no love between each other, and I'm sure their child saw that. It's just really sad. But I give the movie an 8 out of 10. I hope you join me for my next review, which is going to be of an absolutely incredible movie called Crazy from 2005. Thank you. Have a great day.